We all know Vidit Gujrathi is a very solid and positional player, but this one was an unbelievably exciting and attacking game played by him. This happened at the fourth round of the FIDE World Cup 2023, and Vidit was playing with the white pieces against the French Grandmaster Etienne Bacrot. Now, the World Cup has not been an easy event for Vidit. He got a round in the first bye. He got a bye in the first round, and then it's very late in the night right now. I'm recording, and in the second round, he played against Dimitrios Mastro Vasilis. It went all the way till 8 rounds, 8 games he played. Then he played against the next round he was against Matthias Bluebaum, and that also went for 9 games. So he's totally played 17 games. This was his 18th game, the first classical game. And with it, had the white pieces. So let's get it cracking. With it, opened the game with 1 e4, and opponent played the Sicilian. Now the knight came out to f3. And he played the move e6, d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, knight c6, knight c3, queen c7. As Vidit said after the game that his opponent hardly ever played the Taimanov, and so he was already thinking about what he should do here. He decided to play a line which he had already played before against Katrina Lagno. This was in 2023 itself. So he knew that his opponent would be well prepared, but still went up ahead with it. Knight c b5. And this is a very rare move. Queen b8. And now with it played bishop d3. Knight came out to f6. In the game against Lagno, it went a6, knight takes, pawn takes, knight c3, d5, castles, bishop d6. And with it eventually won that game. Here, Bacrot played knight f6. He didn't quickly sort of play a6 to push the knight away. Castles, bishop e7. Now, a6 was played in the game between Arjun Erigaisi and Magnus Carlsen. Knight takes, pawn takes, knight d4, bishop d6, knight f3, e5, and bishop g5. And this was a draw between Arjun and Magnus Carlsen. But Bacrot went bishop e7, queen e2, castles, king h1, a6, and now you must take here, otherwise you will, if you move the knight, you'll lose on d4. So he took, pawn takes, knight c3. So I was wondering here, what is it that Etienne would do? Because Vidit's plan is pretty clear. He wants to play f4 and e5, open up his bishop. So Bacrot played the move knight d7. Very good move. In fact, I was thinking he would go for the move e5, which looked very natural. But after f4, it seems like the initiative is in Vidit's hands. Two things. If you play e takes f4, bishop f4, I like white's position. And if you play bishop d6, then after f5, with the plan of g4, g5, this already looks like a very dangerous attack for white. So he played knight d7. f4 was played. And now your first question for the game, what should black play in this position? So here, Bacrot went for the move b5, which is not the best. He should have played the move knight to c5, and this is a fantastic move. Because after e5, knight d3, cd3, this is already a fine position for white, because for black, because mainly the most aggressive attacking piece has been traded. He played the move b5, and now with it went for e5, opening up the bishop. This time knight c5 does not work because of, you may want to think a bit. what should white do? Sack, king takes, check, king g8. And now comes a very important move. Try to think, what would you play as white in this position? The most natural move here is rook f3 and trying to attack on the king side. However, this does not work. I mean, it's playable, but it's not the best because of f6. The better move here is bishop e3, keeping the eye on the knight here. And I think this is very good move because let's imagine you play a move like bishop b7. Now I can already take, and play my knight up to e4. So this is an important tempo that I'm gaining. And if you go back, then now I give a check. Very nice move. Takes and just rook f3. So there's no chance for you to push your pawn to f6 and later on escape. This was a very instructive line. Anyway, he went for the move c5. And as Vidit said, if his opponent got the moves bishop b7 and c4, he would be fine. So here it's white to move again. What do you do in this position? So Vidit came up with this very energetic play, f5. Very good move. b3 is also possible, but I would say f5 is way better. Now, there are two possibilities. One is to take with the queen, and I'm not sure what Vidit would have done here after queen e5. Maybe this was a better option, but there is queen f3 attacking the rook, and let's say rook a7, or rook a7, then bishop f4, and white has a huge initiative that is boiling up here. Black queen is in trouble. I can take and take. Already this is getting quite dangerous. In the game, Bacrot played knight e5. Makes a lot of sense. He wants to take the bishop. Once again, it's your move. What would you play here as white to play? So it's very natural to think of a simple move like bishop e4. Maybe it's playable. It's not a bad idea. But Vidit went for the forcing move f6. And I really love this move. His opponent took gf6, which was a bad move. And then Vidit actually converted this very well and went on to win. But the key line starts with bishop f6. It's white to play. What will you do in this position? If your answer was bishop h7, that is incorrect, because after take rook f6, black has a very strong move here, knight g6, and black's position is fine. The right move is to take on f6 with the rook. And now there are two moves. One is to take here, and the other one is to take on d3. Let's say you play g takes f6, then I have bishop h7, take, king takes, check, king here, knight e4, attacking the e4 pawn. This is a very common attacking idea here. Knight d7 and bishop h6 with the plan of check, and it's a mate. So that you have to resign. Knight takes d3 is a possibility in the position. And the main move, I take back, you take here. And now once again, what is the only move here? In fact, Vidit, when he went for this sacrifice, he looked till here, but he didn't find a clear way to continue. So what would you play here? White to play. So bishop h6 is what Vidit wanted, was thinking about. But then after f5, there's no clear way to continue the attack. If you play queen h5, there is f6, and white is clearly better. And also Vidit said the line knight d5 is also met with f6. The move here is actually not bishop h6, but knight e4. With the idea of taking this, if you play f5, then I have knight f6 check, king g7, knight h5 check, king h8 and bishop f4, hitting the queen and threatening bishop e5 check. This is winning for white. So he went queen e5. Queen e5 is the main line. What do you play here as white? White to play. Bishop d2 is the right move. The point is that you want to get your bishop to c3. So he plays b4. What do you play here as white? Think. It's very important to get all your pieces into the game, and that's why rook f1, attacking this pawn. And he goes f5. Now, the final accurate move in this variation, what do you play as white? White to move. The move is the very strong bishop g5. And your threat is bishop f6, followed by big attack. And if f6, then I have knight f6 and e5 is hanging. So in this sense, this is already winning. So I hope that you were able to navigate bishop takes f6. Not an easy line by any means. G takes f6 was played, and now with it first pinned with bishop f4. Good move. I mean, there was also a possibility to take here and go for this. This is also better. But he played bishop f4. Now rook d8. Rook e1. Rook d4. And now came the move bishop h7. And this just flows. The main point, of course, is that if king takes check, let's say you go to g8, I just take here. And you can't take fe5 because f7 is hanging and it's game over. So king f8 was played after bishop h7, but now with it went queen h5, threatening bishop takes e5, and then f7 would be hanging. So here he went rook f4, rook f4. The king tried to run, bishop e4, bishop b7, take. But when the smoke has cleared, white is an exchange up. Knight e4, knight g6, take on f6 check, king d8, rook f2, king c7, queen h7, and now knight to g4. f7 was hanging, so knight h8. Oops, sorry, not queen takes h8, but he went rook e6 here, king b8, and now rook e1. And at this point, Bacrot resigned because his pieces are terrible. He's exchanged down, and there's nothing left. And Vidit scored a very important win in this tournament. And now tomorrow with the black pieces, if he holds it to a draw, he moves to round number 5, which would be quite an important one for him. He will take on the winner of Nihal Sarin and Nepomniachtchi if he manages to qualify. So it will be an exciting, could be an all India clash in the round 5 here. But for now, I hope you enjoyed the game. This is Sagar Shah signing off. Bye bye. One of the things that helped Vidit in this game is his calculation. And along with Vidit, we have recorded a 5.5 hour video course on mastering advanced tactics and calculations like a super grandmaster. It is available on ChessBase India, and we've put the link to it below. You can get it and you can become better at calculation. It has very interesting subjects and topics. Like here you can see all the different tactics, but these are not your standard tactics, but based on compositions and studies. And these positions were given to Vidit as new ones, and he solved them without knowing them right in front of us on camera. And so you get to see how a top GM thinks. So if you also would like to improve your calculations and tactics and so on, please do get it, and you will see that it will help you in your chess.